Evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time from your schedule and joining us today for this informative myself. My name is Vinesh Mandot, and I head the Learning and Development Department at LifeCell International Private Limited, India's first and largest stem cell bank. Now, the moment I said that I come from XYZ company, many of you all would have probably think, and let me tell you that my intention today is not to sell any product or service of my organization, but I would like to take this opportunity to discuss, educate, empower every expected parent right now watching us about an innovative technology which was not available when you and me were born. But today, your to be born baby can be blessed with this. So, without wasting a minute, let's get started. On behalf of LifeCell, let us wish all the lovely couples who are expecting a newborn child very soon in their family a hearty congratulations. Friends, giving birth to a baby comes with a host of responsibilities and important decisions that you need to make. And choosing the concept of stem cell banking, and most importantly, the right bank is one amongst them. So let's understand in the next few minutes as I help you take through a journey to understand the concept of stem cell banking and its benefits not only to your family but also for the baby. Uh, when we fall sick, we go to a doctor and the doctor prescribes us a medicine. This comes under the pharmaceutical side of medicine. For example, antibiotics, something that everyone is aware of. Now, I'm sure that you would appreciate the fact that not each one of us, not all the medical conditions that are known to us can be treated only by consuming a medicine. For example, when we talk about medical conditions like appendicitis or hernia or a more lethal one like brain tumor, the doctors may have to treat the patient using a surgical procedure. Now, the matter of the fact is, and it may surprise many of you all, that both the medicines and the surgical procedures put together also have limitations. What I'm trying to say is that there are a host of medical conditions which cannot be taken care by either or both of these approaches. Something that affects your blood systems, heart, kidneys, lungs, livers, brain, and so on. So, is there a way to take care of such medical conditions? So, on your left, what you see is the new era of medicine, which we call as the regenerative medicine, where today the medicine actually happens to be something called as stem cells, something that we're going to discuss during this webinar. And these stem cells have this innate ability to not only regenerate or repair, but also replace the affected parts of your body. So, in short, storing stem cells could be as compared as the way you keep medicines at home, so that tomorrow, in case the need arises, you have it ready with you. So, with this, let me introduce the learning objectives of today's presentation. We're going to understand what are these stem cells, how do they function, what is the need, or why should one bother about knowing about the importance of these stem cells, the applications of these stem cells. Most importantly, what are the challenges that one faces today in our country? What could be an ideal solution? And finally, how affordable could it be on your pockets? Uh, When an expected couple receives the good news and they go and visit an obstetrician or a gynecologist, if you recollect the first sonography scan, I think this is one of the most joyous moments that no one can forget. The doctor would show you an image which right now you're seeing on the right hand side of your screen. And that's a kind of a confirmation, and the doctor would have told you that this is, this small kidney bean shaped structure that you see, that's the beginning of your baby's development. And how beautifully in the next 9 months, slowly and gradually, the baby develops from a single cell to an entire newborn baby. It can be easily compared to how a single seed gives rise to an entire plant. And my dear friends, look how beautiful nature works. The umbilical cord, which during these 9 months is a connect of great importance between the child and the mother. These stem cells, these cord blood stem cells that we are talking about, they are found to be present in this umbilical cord blood. Now, when you and me were born, unfortunately, since this technology was not available, our umbilical cords were thrown as a medical waste. But today, rather than throwing it in the bin, you could store this precious stem cell in a bank so that tomorrow it can act as a medicine, and not only for the child but for the entire family. So, if I had to explain you how stem cells work, let's look at this example. Assume it is 5 p.m. in the evening, and a grandmother who's around 70 years old, and her granddaughter who's around 5 to 6 years old, they're both taking a stroll in the nearby park. They were actually so engrossed in their conversation that they missed out at the stone which was in front of them, and they both fell down. They both hurt themselves and they had a serious bruise or injury on their skin. Now, if I had to ask you a simple question, whom do you think out of these two would heal faster in the coming weeks? The grandmother or the granddaughter? Correct. Many of you all have rightly answered this, that the granddaughter would heal faster. Well, it does not require a rocket science. We all know that when we are young, the potential or ability of our body, or for that matter, the body stem cells, is much better and faster compared to when we turn old. In simple terms, as we get older, our body's natural potential to heal itself reduces with age. And that's the sole reason why lakhs and lakhs of parents store their child's cord blood stem cells in a bank. So what is a cryopreservation? Well, when we buy fruits and vegetables, don't we store them in the fridge at a temperature of around 4 degrees centigrade? Obviously, we don't want them to get spoiled and use it for a few more days. Similarly, cryopreservation is a technique where we store any biological tissue or cell at a sub-zero temperature, at a temperature as low as minus 196 degrees centigrade. I'm sure many of the tech-savvy people would have heard about a term, hibernation. Computer में एक term होता है hibernation. Similarly, the cells go in a state of hibernation. They are alive, but they are no more functional. Similarly, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ friends कि the baby will grow tomorrow 10 years, the baby will turn 20, 40, 50, 7 years of age. But since these cord blood stem cells were stored and freezed at the age of 9 months, they will remain 9 months old. And as we saw in the previous slide, younger the stem cells, faster is the healing potential. And that's the number one reason why people go ahead and bank their baby stem cells. The next thing that I wish to discuss is that many people ask that do these stem cells really help? क्या ये stem cells सच में किसी patient के काम भी आए हैं? It's a valid question. First things first, look at the two pictures on the right hand side of your screen. Matthew Farrow, he was the world's first boy to be treated for a medical condition called anemia, for which there was no other better treatment option 30 years back. And today, on your extreme right, you see that after 30 long years, Matthew is absolutely happy, healthy, and disease-free. This is one of the thousands of examples that I can show to you that these stem cells are nothing less than lifesavers. Well, stem cell transplantation is a field of medicine which is not new. In fact, in the last 50 years since it's being used, more than 13 lakh patients in India and worldwide have benefited from the power of these stem cells. In fact, in one of the recent reports, it was shown that more than 50,000 transplants are done annually worldwide. Today, more than 80 plus blood conditions are approved in India and also abroad for conditions शायद आप लोग ने सुना होगा, including beta thalassemia majors, sickle cell disease, leukemia, myelomas. These are form of blood cancers, metabolic disorders, etc. What is more interesting and promising is what you're seeing on the right hand side of your screen. That for many medical conditions which till date had no treatment option or a way to help the patients, researchers and doctors across the world are trying to evaluate if stem cells could help for conditions like cerebral palsy, autism. These are neurological disorders. Type 1 diabetes, जो बचपन से होती है, हम इसे juvenile diabetes भी कहते हैं, traumatic brain injury, hearing loss, etc. My dear friends, why you and me should be well aware about this potential of stem cells is because, as per a published study, which is well recognized and authenticated, by the age of 70 years, out of 217 human beings, one will have to undergo, in all possibilities, a blood stem cell transplantation. So that's a huge risk that each one of us carry. Moving on, I also wanted to show a couple of case studies to give you that confidence that yes, these stem cells do really work. I think pictures speak louder than words. As you can see, this child got treated for a medical condition called beta thalassemia major, and on your right you can see that she's, after years of her transplant, completely disease-free, happy, and she just lives a normal, healthy life thanks to these stem cells. What about this Kolkata boy, the smiling young Kolkata boy? His name is Apartim. Thanks to the wise decision that his father and mother took 6 years back of storing this child's cord blood, they never knew that after a couple of years of the child's birth, he may face a neurological disorder called autism. And these parents traveled to the United States of America, and that's where at Duke University his own cord blood was used. And I think the testimonial is very, very encouraging for LifeCell and for anyone who's looking to store their child's cord blood, because the father says that he's seeing tremendous development and improvements in the child's progress and developmental milestones. Truly, it's very satisfying. So having said that, to be very honest, one of my friends recently asked me that if stem cells had so much potential, then why don't we hear them as frequently as one may hear about angioplasty or a bypass surgery, or for that matter, kidney transplants? Well, it's a valid question. Now, before I explain you the current challenges, let's take a simple example. Okay, so for the next 30 seconds, I want all my viewers to think if you were a farmer. All right, so all of you watching me, you are a farmer, okay, and you are involved in farming of apple. So obviously, you all wish to have an apple which is on the extreme right hand side of your screen. However, assume that when you were harvesting, and at that time, for utter disappointment, you were seeing the middle or the worst, the left side. You saw these kind of apples coming out of your, the entire farm. How would you feel? You'll feel fat, you'll feel bad, you'll feel disappointed, and then obviously you'll try to change the soil, maybe change or improve the fertilizers that you're giving. आप अच्छे से पानी देंगे, आप ensure करेंगे कि sunlight बराबर से आ रही है. You'll do everything in the world to ensure that this does not get repeated. Friends, assume that even in the second time, you did everything possible in the world, but still you're getting the same result. You still getting the apple which is on the extreme left hand side of your screen. What do you think and where do you think is the root cause of the problem? Yes, if few of you all are thinking that the root cause is actually in the seed, then you are absolutely correct. Friends, the root cause of the problem is in the seed. And since you changed everything else, but not the seed, you will keep getting the same results. A much simpler example is, let's say one day you forgot to, warm your milk and the milk got spoiled. Can you expect a good quality coffee or tea out of this spoiled milk? No. You need to change the milk. You need to change the seed of the apple to get a apple or a tea or a coffee that you are expecting. My dear friends, similarly, why I gave you this example is to introduce this simple concept that in most of these medical conditions which we are talking about, blood conditions, first of all, the main reason why these conditions come up is because the fault or the defect lies in the patient's own stem cells. And hence, it is well known fact that in almost 90% of the blood conditions, the patients would require stem cells from a healthy matching donor. My dear friends, please make a note of this point that the child, even if he or she has his own cord blood preserved in a bank, that is beneficial to treat only 10% conditions. For cancers, for thalassemias, metabolic disorders, and so many, 90% of them, the child would require stem cells from a healthy matching donor rather than their own stem cells. Reason? The defect is in their own stem cells. If they use their own cord blood again, the same disease would come back. So moving on, and when you wish to take stem cells or when you want to find a donor, the first set of people that you would approach is your own family members. Now, just like how you are aware that when you need blood, you would try to find a compatible blood donor. Similarly, in stem cells, there is a concept called HLA. It's called the human leukocyte antigen, which is basically matched. It's called HLA typing. So you match the HLA of the patient and the donor, and the closer the match, better is the transplant outcome. It's as simple as that. So friends, as an expected father or as an expected mother, you contribute 50% of the genes or these HLAs to your child. So, which means you're 50% matching to your child. However, please make a note that in case you need, in case a parent wants, in case any donor for that matter needs to donate his or her cord blood stem cells to a patient, there has to be a minimum 70% matching between the patient and the donor. How much? Yes, 70%. And what did I just say? The parents are just 50% matching to their child. It's as simple as an example that if the cutoff to get an admission in a college is around 85% and your percentages are, let's say, 75%, would you get an admission? No. Similarly, for this prime reason, the parents in almost all likelihoods would not be able to use the child's cord blood. In years of my experience, many expected parents misunderstand that I can also use my child's cord blood. That's not the fact. Moving on with the siblings, there is only a 25% chance that a sibling would be able to use each other's cord blood stem cells in case they are stored. The flip side of the coin is that 75% times the siblings won't be able to help each other. So in case all this was a little too much for you to grasp, remember this thing. And you may Google what I'm saying right now. You may Google and check that 70% of the Indian patients who are in a desperate need to find a matching donor, they do not find a donor in their own family. And that's one of the reasons where we started why we don't hear about stem cell transplants so frequently in our country. So, if you are a patient, you need donor stem cells and you do not find it in your own family, what's the only option left with you? Well, to approach a public repository. Now, just like how you would go and approach a blood bank, a regular blood bank, similarly, you have a concept of a public cord blood bank. Now, a public cord blood bank is basically a bank where parents voluntarily donate their child's cord blood. आप अपने बच्चे के स्टेम सेल्स को डोनेट कर देते हो. We all know that donation is voluntary. उसमें आपको कोई पैसा नहीं मिलता. Secondly, once you have donated, you have no rights on that sample. आप उस sample पे कोई rights नहीं रहते आपके. So, now what I'm going to show, and I know that many of you will be thinking that we logged into this webinar to find a solution, but Vinesh is talking about a lot of challenges. But my dear friends, once you've understood these challenges, the next 10 minutes, I'm going to bring a smile on your face to the solution that we have. Trust me on this. So my dear friends, they say that a child is born in our country every 3 seconds. And as I explained, a public cord blood bank is a bank where you voluntarily donate your child's cord blood. Unfortunately, in our country, and as you see on the left-hand side of your screen, in the last 10 to 12 years of the single largest public cord blood bank based in our country, they just have 6,500 samples available. My dear friends, a country of 135 crores is dependent on a mere repository or an inventory of 6,500 samples. I mean, I don't have to explain you how difficult it would be to find a matching donor from such a small inventory. Yes, there are public cord blood banks available worldwide. Currently, they hold around anywhere between 7.5 lakhs to 8 lakh cord blood units. However, the one that you see in the at the bottom in green color, this statement is very important to understand that the probability or the chances for an Indian patient to find a match, since it is ethnicity dependent, it is best to find a match with a fellow Indian rather than an American or a Chinese, or Australian or a European. Now, on your right hand side, you see something called as high cost written. Friends, as I said, first of all, the chances that someone will today in India find a match itself is very, very challenging. But in case you are that one lucky one person who's able to find a matching donor, what makes matters worse is the high cost of procuring these stem cells, because you need to purchase these stem cells from a bank. Now, this one unit, which is somewhere around 25 ml of sample, will cost you, yes, you read it correctly, anywhere between 15 to 20 lakh rupees. Add another 15 to 20 lakh rupees to undergo this stem cell transplant in a hospital. My dear friends, we are talking about anywhere between 30 to 40 lakh rupees to purchase and undergo a treatment in the hospital. Think for a moment, how feasible is this option today? And for anyone who was aware about stem cells banking and is not sure, this is the slide which should make you realize the challenges that you and your family may unfortunately face. I wish no one has to face this, but unfortunately face in case there is a requirement tomorrow for stem cells. Now, so what's the ideal solution? Well, hypothetically or theoretically, the ideal solution is we should have a large inventory of Indian origin samples so that you have higher chances that you find a match. Second, these samples should be immediately available, and finally, they should be available at a very affordable cost. My dear friends, we're extremely glad and happy to share that this was the sole intention why LifeCell introduced this unique and innovative model of stem cell banking, which we call as a community banking. Let me explain what this community banking is all about. So, community banking is a program where like-minded parents come ahead and contribute their child's cord blood stem cells into a common pool so that it can be shared amongst the members of the community. Please note, only the members of this LifeCell community can access, no one else from the outside can access this inventory. Now, the cord blood stem cells remain exclusively for the child for the first 2 years, so that we give enough confidence to the parents that the child has passed the developmental milestones, and only then the qualified samples would only move to this common pool, which can now be accessed by the baby. Hear me out. The baby, the siblings, the parents, and also the grandparents, both maternal and paternal. So, my dear friends, adults like you and me who had lost our once in a lifetime opportunity when you and me were born, today, thanks to this newborn baby, all the adults in the family, or in case you have an eldest child, all of you all have one more chance, just one more chance to have access to stem cells thanks to this coming baby. All right, so now not only can the entire family access these stem cells, but you get these stem cells. When you find a matching stem cells, you can take 1, 2, 3, unlimited. There is no cap, there's no upper limit. You can withdraw n number of samples, and that too, my dear friends, absolutely free of cost. In a public bank where you had to pay anywhere between 15 to 20 lakh rupees, here you can access unlimited samples absolutely free of cost. Why go by my words? Why not hear what the end user, doctors, Indian doctors, who would at the end of the day use these stem cells, have to talk about this community banking concept? Friends, I'm just showcasing showcasing some snapshots of YouTube videos which are available on our channel. If you're interested, you can go and watch these videos. Oh, I'm sorry for this. Right. So Dr. Sandeep Shah, he's been practicing at in Ahmedabad, very senior and renowned stem cell physician, bone marrow transplant physician for the last more than 3 decades. He highly recommends the community banking of cord blood. Dr. Rahul Bhargava from North India, Gurugram, at Fortis Memorial Research Institute, one of the most tech savvy and social media friendly doctor that I have come across. Well, Dr. Purvish Parekh, one of the most senior in this line of medicine, hemato-oncologist, extremely humble person. He vouches for this concept of community banking model. From down south, we have Dr. Mahesh, who practices at Sparsh Hospital. He highly recommends parents like you to go ahead and bank your baby's stem cells under the community banking model. And finally, from Maharashtra, Aurangabad, we have Dr. Shraddha Chandak, who also, once she understood the concept, she voluntarily came ahead and has given a beautiful testimonial to encourage parents that you should go ahead with community banking. So, my dear friends, I'm sure at this point, I have done my best to explain you what are stem cells, how do they function, their applications, the current challenges, and finally, what is community banking backed up by what the experts say. So, a couple of more interesting points. Now, when we collect your child's cord blood and it gets transferred to our laboratory based in Chennai, we need to immediately process these cord blood to harvest the stem cells. What we mean by processing is, in simple terms, we need to harvest these precious stem cells and remove whatever is unwanted out of the entire cord blood. You would be very happy that when you choose LifeCell, you are giving your child the world's best technology to process these cord blood stem cells. Yes, today the market is flooded with a lot of options, but scientifically, on paper, it is proven that Prepasite CV, a technology that we use, is one of the best technologies to process cord blood. And this is in partnership with our technical partnership with CryoCell International, which is based in US. My dear friends, CryoCell was the world's one of the first banks that opened up in 1992. In India, LifeCell is the only company and will be the only company to offer you Prepasite. Now, the most important benefit of Prepasite is that it is to fastest recovery for the patient post-transplant. It has been shown that samples which have been processed with this technology, the patients recover faster compared to any other technology. And don't we all want that? We want the patient to be out of the hospital faster because it helps to improve the quality of life, and also it saves a lot of hospital cost. It has also comes with an added advantages of highest recovery of stem cells. That's exactly what parents want, and it removes the maximum red blood cells. Almost 99% of all the red blood cells will be thrown out with this technology because that's what you don't want to store. Friends, before I come to the last 2 slides of my presentation, be kind enough to watch, spend your time for today's webinar, and I want to raise a red flag and make you aware about something critical. Friends, in India, only the umbilical cord blood, the blood that is flowing from your child's cord, is allowed to be collected, processed, stored, and used. There are various other sources of harvesting stem cells, including the cord tissue, the menstrual blood, the placenta, and whatnot. Please be aware that there are other vendors in this country who claim to do all this, but please make a note that it is not ethical. No bank has a license to do that. Do not get trapped in such false commitments. Please understand only the cord blood stem cells is allowed to be stored. However, I have a good news to share. Through our exclusive guaranteed mesenchymal stem cells program, these mesenchymal stem cells are a different line of stem cells. They are used under clinical trials for orthopedic problems, cardiovascular problems, etc. Through our guaranteed mesenchymal stem cells program that we have for you, though we are not going to store your child's cord tissue because it's not allowed in India anymore, we would give you, we would provide you these cells absolutely free of cost within 7 days, up to 1,000 million, and through a regulatory approved manner. Keep that in mind. All right. So people who are already interested and can't wait to go ahead and bank their baby stem cells maybe immediately after this webinar is over, here's what you need to do. First step, you need to enroll for our services. It's an absolutely paperless procedure, takes less than 15 minutes to sign you up. After that, we would provide you a collection kit box. You see a collection kit box on the right hand side of your screen. This is the kit box that is provided to you. Now, on the day when the labor pain starts, and you're rushing to the hospital, please ensure that you carry this kit box along with you. The collection would be done either by LifeCell's authorized paramedical staff or through your own doctor under the supervision of your doctor. Once the entire sample is collected, it gets transported to our central processing facility situated at Chennai. Immediately, once the sample is taken for testing and then it is processed, once the samples are processed, they are immediately cryopreserved. I explained you what cryopreservation is, and they can be stored for as long as you wish. Thereupon, subsequently, you receive the soft copies and hard copies of your preservation certificates. So it's as simple as these 5 steps. So the 2 images that you see, these are the snapshots of our facility. One is situated in Chennai and the other in Gurugram. So my dear friends, these are the last 2 slides of my presentation. You've been kind enough to stay focused towards whatever I was saying, but let me share why more than 3.5 lakh Indian parents have gone ahead and chosen LifeCell as their trusted partner. First and foremost is our concept itself. My dear friends, you have 2 options to store your child's cord blood. One is a private banking where you don't share it with anyone else, and the other is community banking. If you wish to give 100% protection to your child in terms of protecting it from stem cells, conditions which can be treated through stem cells, then you have just one choice: community banking. Private banking is beneficial, but only for 10% medical conditions. It cannot help you for the others. Apart from that, this model also helps to protect, as I have been repeatedly saying, the siblings, the parents, and also the grandparents, both maternal and paternal. Second important thing is, my dear friends, today as we speak, LifeCell is one of the largest Indian origin repository of cord blood units of Indians, which means one of the recent study that we did internally with our data, and we found that there is almost 96% chances that a patient who's trying to find a matching donor would find. And this is by correlating to the Indian Council of Medical Research's paper. All right. So there's a high chance that you would find a matching donor. So if you recollect, with the large inventory, we solved the problem of finding matching stem cells. By giving access to your entire family, we give you these stem cells, unlimited numbers, and absolutely free of cost. Just the third and the last teething issue was about the hospitalization cost. My dear friends, for the baby, the siblings, and the parents, God forbid if there is a requirement to undergo a stem cell transplantation. It could be either by using cord blood or for that matter bone marrow stem cells or a peripheral blood stem cells as per our agreement. For every stem cell transplantation, yes, for every stem cell transplant that the family member undergoes, LifeCell shall offset up to 20 lakh rupees for the transplant related expenses. Mind you, my dear friends, it is just not words. Till date, we have disbursed more than 1 crore of rupees to all our customers, many of our customers for that matter, who have undergone stem cell transplants for one of their loved ones. Next, on your bottom left hand side, you see something called as continued protection against rejection. Friends, when we enroll for stem cell banking, we do not really know whether the child's cord blood would have enough blood in it or enough stem cells in it. Am I right? So, the community banking option gives you that added advantage wherein in rare circumstances, in case the cord blood is of not enough volume or the harvested stem cells are not sufficient enough to be eligible for storage, even in such cases, in case you wish to go ahead with the agreement, you can continue to enjoy the benefits of the community banking program. Next is when one of the community members is helped by your child's cord blood stem cells, then as a gratitude, as a gesture, LifeCell refunds all the fees that you had paid to LifeCell, except the sample collection charges. Entire money is refunded, and the child and the entire family continues to enjoy the benefits till the child's entire lifetime. The next important benefit that we offer you, and this is exclusive not only in India, my dear friends, but worldwide. We are the first and the only company in the world who would perform next generation sequencing based genetic testing on thousands of genes and for thousands of disorders on the sample that is selected by your physician for a transplant, so that you and your doctor are confident enough that the sample that you're using is free from any inherent genetic disorder. So इससे आपका कॉन्फिडेंस काफी बढ़ जाएगा कि स्टेम सेल ट्रांसप्लांट का सक्सेस ज्यादा हो सकता है if I use this sample. And obviously, we also offer you a disaster relief program and quality guarantee program up to 20 lakh rupees for every stem cell transplantation. Friends, with this I come to the last slide of my presentation. In a recent global survey, out of 200 plus stem cell banks in India and across the world, I'm sure this is a matter of pride for any Indian for that matter, that LifeCell has been ranked as the world's third largest stem cell bank after a bank in US and in China. So in 15 years, with the trust of lakhs of Indian patients, we become the world's third largest, and hopefully very soon will become the world's first largest. And it's a pride moment because we are an Indian born company. It's a make in India company. Secondly, as I already told you that it is recommended, the concept of community banking is recommended by India's leading hemato-oncologists or stem cell doctors. When we invest our money, for example, in SIPs or mutual funds, we always diversify our funds to ensure that we de-risk or we reduce the risk that is involved. Similarly, don't you think these stem cells are so precious? So why put all your eggs in one basket? And that is why LifeCell offers a dual site facility where stem cells can be stored in two different locations, geographically distant, one in Chennai and one in Gurugram near Delhi. I've already explained to you that we use a premier cord blood processing technology to process your child's cord blood called preparsite. Now, out of several factors that came into the decision by both of you to select the current gynac or obstetrician that you're visiting to take care of the child and the mother, I'm pretty sure that one of the reason was the experience that the doctor carries, isn't it? So, my dear friends, when it comes to selecting a right stem cell bank, why can't the same logic be applied? When you choose LifeCell, you're going ahead with a company who's not done one or two or three, but 61. We have done the highest stem cell transplantation. We have helped the 61 families who had stored cord blood stem cells with us, and they've got treated in India or abroad. Taking this further, our samples have not only been accepted in India, but also 11 times, yes, 11 times in the United States of America, twice in Singapore and once in Thailand. Now, my dear friend, this talks volumes about our processing and quality standards. So our highest accreditations is a testimony of this fact that your stem cells are processed and stored in an internationally reputed processing infrastructure facility. Finally, all of this at what cost? Friends, I'm not sure how many of you all, when you started with this webinar, were aware that by just taking that one next step of ensuring that when your newborn baby is born, you get these stem cells collected and enrolled for LifeCell's community banking program. By doing this one step, not only do you protect your baby, but also the entire family, including the siblings, parents, and grandparents, at the cost of just a single enrollment, my dear friends. And that too, with easy EMI plans that we have made for you, which starts at just 950 rupees. You can pay 950 rupees today, my dear friends, and start this beautiful service of stem cells banking. So you have two options. You can directly right now go log into our website and complete the entire procedure online, which will take you less than 10 to 15 minutes. Or you can call up on this number and talk to one of our product experts who will give you more information and confidence to go ahead with this service. My dear friends, with this, I'm really happy that with the intent that we had for this webinar, we come to an end of my presentation where I feel and I believe I've done justice, hopefully, to explain you that stem cells are an approved and a proven therapy. It's recommended by doctors. Lakhs of people, lakhs of parents have already done this. It protects your entire family, and we are offering you our services at a very, very affordable cost, my dear friends. Believe me, this would be one of the best decisions that you would take even before your child is born. And I'm pretty sure that he or she will be very, very proud that Mama, Papa, you did something, such a brilliant thing for me. With this, I would be happy to take questions from my viewers. Whatever questions you have, I would love to take these questions. All right. So I have some questions in front of me, and let me start with them. So the first question is will stem cell help to fight coronavirus? Okay. So I would not say that yes, definitely stem cells is going to be extremely helpful to treat coronavirus. However, yes, recently there are reports in the US and few other companies in China, etc., who've been trying to save even stem cells could play a role to treat coronavirus. Early days, but the data is encouraging. However, we need to be realistic and wait for some more scientific data before we could comment more on that. All right. The next question is, what is the timing of the company if customer demands stem cells? Right. So stem cell, that's a good question. Stem cell transplants are never an overnight procedure. It's a planned therapy. However, as far as LifeCell goes, we would keep once your doctor gives us a prescription, we would keep these stem cells ready within 7 days to be shipped in India or anywhere in the globe, absolutely free of cost. The entire shipment would be done absolutely free of cost. All right. So the next question is explain the benefits of stem cell preservation. I think my entire presentation was focused on that, and I'm sure that most of you all would have understood. Okay. Do want to say that such type of disorders can be avoided? Okay. So Mr. Mohit is asking me that can stem cells help to treat such disorders? Yes, Mr. Mohit. It's not Vinesh or LifeCell who's saying. In India and abroad, these 80 plus blood disorders, they are approved, which means thousands of patients have been treated by these stem cells, and it does help. It does help, absolutely. All right. In case of allergenic condition, defect is when in a home sample, then yeah, or no. Okay, Miss. Okay, one of our viewer is saying, for how many years can it be stored? All right. So at LifeCell, you have three options to store your child's stem cells. You can store it for 75 long years at one go, or you can choose our 21-year plan where you can initially store for 21 years and then renew the contract later on. Or you can choose for the annual storage plan where you can renew the contract every year. Right. All right. So one of our viewers is asking that how much stem cells is required for a stem cell transplant. I think that's a very good question. So there is a mathematical calculation which says that around 25 million total nucleated cells. It's a technical term. However, close to 25 million total nucleated cells are required per kg body weight to undergo a stem cell transplant. All right. Okay, can embryonic origin stem cell fulfill the same function as umbilical cord origin stem cells? Well, embryonic stem cells, yes, theoretically, yes. However, practically, at least in India, the regulations are pretty straightforward. No application of embryonic stem cells is allowed or permissible in our country. Hence, the next best option in the most regulatory approved way is the cord blood stem cells. What's the source of the tissue cells? Okay, so what we are going to do is there is already a DCGI, the Drug Controller General of India, which is the governing body in our country. There's already a product which is available with them, which is approved product. So either we would give you the mesenchymal stem cells from this organization, or in future we will also try and we are working on a plan where we could have our own master bank created, from where we'll harvest these stem cells from voluntarily donated cord tissue. So that's also a plan. However, today as we speak, we would give you these stem cells from a DCGI approved product. That product is already approved in India. Okay. In this period of lockdown, how would you be able to ensure sample storage to your storage center? Okay, that's a fantastic question. It's a matter of pride again, and LifeCell always believes to, demonstrate what we preach or what we talk. In this matter of lockdown, for the sheer strength of our, feet on street and also our logistics partners, we've been able to successfully collect almost more than 1,000 samples already, and it's been safely transported via our logistics partner to Chennai. So now, wherever you belong to, you can get in touch with our local representative, and we'll ensure that we will get your samples transported because we are 24 by 7 functional even during this lockdown period. All right, Mr. Ashish wants to have a detailed brochure for our service. More than welcome, Mr. Ashish. It's available on our website, www.lifecell.in, or else just drop us an email or call us at the call center, whatever is convenient to you, and we will definitely provide you a brochure and any other information that you would require. All right. EMI options. Well, you can get in touch with our local, representative, our product expert, who would give you, basis the plan that you select, what are the different EMI options that we have. We also have some really interesting interest-free EMI options also available. So that could be discussed and definitely helped, taken care by our product expert. All right. Would you be storing some amount of cord blood separately? Okay. For use by the same child in case another community member wishes to use it. Okay. So one of our viewer is asking that would you be storing a part of the cord blood separately for the same child? Well, this may sound a lucrative option. However, in practical terms, the entire cord blood unit of 25 ml may be required for usage by the patient. We would give whatever amount is required as per the prescription of the doctor. And in my personal experience or whatever I have read, I think in most likelihoods the entire unit would be offered to the patient for in the course of his or her treatment. Uh, can stem cells be used for diabetes? All right. So diabetes, as many of you all would be aware, there are two types, type 1 and type 2. As far as type 1 diabetes goes, which is also known as the juvenile diabetes, uh, this happens in children. So in America, in Australia, there is a clinical trial ongoing currently where the researchers and doctors are using the child's own cord blood. It's called autologous cord blood to see if cord blood can help. And initial results are quite encouraging. However, early days, uh, type 2 diabetes could have a potential in the future. Definitely, there's a lot of research going on across the world, but type 1 diabetes is more relevant when I talk about cord blood at this point of time. Okay. All right. So as far as processing technology goes, as I said, we use the PrepaSite technology, the PrepaSite CB technology. It's all depends on. You should always look into validated third-party papers, and there are enough and more literature available today which clearly shows that PrepaSite CB under all circumstances gives you better results compared to the other technologies which are available in the market. All right. One of our viewer is asking whether how will I know that the stem cells that I'm getting from the community is healthy or not? Well, exactly. If you recollect, we have something called as a safe transplantation program in which we would run a next generation sequencing based a test, a genetic test, where we would screen the cord blood unit that is selected by your doctor for thousands of genes and thousands of disorders. And only once your doctor approves the usage of that would we release that sample. So that will give you a lot of confidence on the inherent quality of the donor cord blood that is getting used in the patient's body. Can sickle cell anemia be treated through stem cells? Absolutely, yes. Sickle cell anemia requires stem cells from a healthy matching donor. You cannot use your own cord blood stem cells. So in that terms, yes, it comes under the approved list. For current offers, yes, absolutely. Friends, every month we keep running some exciting offers to motivate our parents to go ahead and gift this valuable lifetime service. Please get in touch with our product expert who would give you in-depth information about the current offers of the month. Sorry. Okay. Can we get some details on the number of samples that have been processed by your lab during the lockdown period? Absolutely. As far as the last data that we have, we processed more than 1,000 samples during this lockdown period. I think by far the highest by any bank. And we also have a lot of testimonials where we actually came to rescue for a lot of parents who had actually signed up with other banks, but due to the lockdown, the other banks were not able to live up to their commitment. But as I said, LifeCell took up that ownership, and the customers cancelled their agreement with the other companies, re-enrolled with LifeCell, and their samples reached on time to a laboratory, and we've taken care of that. So, especially during this lockdown period, if you are anticipating a delivery anytime during this lockdown period, my humble suggestion is go ahead with LifeCell because we have our logistics in place much better than anyone else. Uh, All right, this is a very interesting question that has come up. What are the key points I should consider while selecting the right stem cell bank? First and foremost, the key point that you kept in mind before selecting the particular gynac or the medical practitioner who's taking care of the child and the mother. The experience, uh, the availability. Second is the availability. We all want a doctor who's available for us. Similarly, you want a stem cell bank who is available for you. Someone who's demonstrated ability of helping parents, not just on paper, but in practical terms. So look at companies who have done and transplants not only in India but abroad. Look at their concept. As I said, community banking concept is the real uh, uh, holds the real meaning and unlocks the real potential of your child's cord blood compared to any other model. And another important thing is look into the accreditations, because at the end, the hospital or the doctor would only take stem cells from an accredited organization. And also, it is very important that the organization should be financially stable. And LifeCell has been the pioneers in this technology, in this banking industry, and has been a market leader since the day one. So, all right. All right. So, how much time is required for transportation from Delhi to your laboratory? All right. So, I think just to clarify, samples across the country should we try and get the samples transported from across our country to our processing unit after collection within 48 to 72 hours. The regulations also give us that timeline of anywhere between 48 to 72 hours. And at the time of requirement, your stem cells would be ready for release in India or abroad within 7 days. Right. All right. So I think, yeah, one more question that has come up is, in case my child's cord blood, in case my child's cord blood is used by another community member, and now the child himself or herself requires stem cells for own use, then what happens? So, very important, very good question. Pretty simple. When you take this decision, you need to be sure that you want to give maximum coverage and protection to your child. Now, there are around 8 medical conditions. Please hear me out. There are 8 medical conditions where the child would have her own cord blood stem cells. Now, in a situation hypothetically where the child's cord blood has gone to someone else and now he or she requires own stem cells, the child is at 0% risk. Reason is because the child already has stem cells in his body in terms of his bone marrow or peripheral blood stem cells, which he or she can use and get treated. However, the reason why you are going ahead with community banking is because the child and all the other members of the family, they do not have the protection against donor stem cells. It is easy to procure your own stem cells through your own body or cord blood. But when it comes to finding a donor, that's where the risk is. And that's why you will go ahead with a community banking model. So there is no risk to the child in this case. That's the answer. What happens in case of, uh, I have heard about a company who was sold and taken up by your company. Can you explain? Oh, yes. Glad you asked this question. That's why I was saying that financial stability is critical. Now, a few years back, a European origin company who was operating in India and was based in Bangalore, for some reasons they were not able to continue their operations. And at that time, LifeCell was the company who came in front. We took over this company and also the 18,000 cord blood units that were preserved with them. They all got transported from Bangalore to Chennai in our facility, and all these customers are being served by LifeCell. Friends, that's the reason why it's very, very important to choose a correct bank, because one mistake can be can have repercussions for the rest of your life. And fortunately, these parents are smiling again because their stem cells are wisely stored at LifeCell. All right then. So I don't see any further questions coming up. So thank you so much, friends, for your valuable time. Uh, In case you have any further questions, you could reach out to our local product experts, or there are various modes that I've described. You can give us a call, write to us. You just got one chance, my dear friends, just got one chance, and let's do the best for the newborn baby even before it's born. Thank you so much for your valuable time once again. On behalf of LifeCell, we wish you and your entire family a great, healthy future. Stay home during this lockdown period, stay safe, and all the very best. Thank you.